In this video, I'm going to be covering Yulissa, kind of going over all her stats and then showing her gameplay a little later as well. So Yulissa is a B tier slime. You do have to purchase her with gems. So as far as priority order, there's really no reason to get her super early, just because really you're not going to utilize her. And the only exception really is if you just need another slime in the mine to help you clear early on. That's why I purchased her with, like, I believe it was 500 gems, but I didn't really intend on using her. And you don't want to use any of your earth slime stones to upgrade her until really you've upgraded, because you're going to need them for Vainly, for Wheeler if you're trying to use Wheeler for gold farming, and then Yamlet will be really important later for hard mode as well. But then after you have had them all maxed out, then it would be a fine thing to just use them to upgrade Yulissa. I just did it for fun, and I wanted to kind of showcase everything going on here. So just once again, because she is a B tier slime, these just milestone upgrades, HP, attack, they're going to be a lot less than some of these other slimes. Like Yolanda's getting 60% attack, 80% attack. Yamlet's getting just more because she is an S tier slime. So because Yulissa is a B tier slime, we're just seeing a lot less there. But at level 10, we're getting 5% bonus HP. Level 25, we're getting 10% bonus attack. At level 50, we're getting 15% bonus hit rate. This one actually is a bit cooler, just because not many slimes have bonus hit rate. And for those later stages, hit rate really does become an important stat. This isn't going to be enough to really make much of a difference or suddenly just inspire you to use Yulissa, but something to just be aware of. For the level 75 ability, we have plus 0.5 seconds to stun time. This is helpful just if you have like your stun chance through your talent, so your attacks will have a chance to stun the enemies. But really, this isn't something you should be prioritizing. You're not going to see a huge difference here. For her level 100 ability, we're getting 40% bonus attack. And then for a level 125, we're getting 10% bonus damage resistance. Now, this one actually is pretty cool, just because when we look at the damage resistance here, she's up to 90% damage resistance. And then we have some extra damage resistance as well. But 90% is actually the highest you can get out of any slime, just because even if you are using really good S tier equipment, you can get up to 30% bonus damage resistance from that. So right, the title scale armor I'm using gives me 30% bonus damage resistance. But even if you have your talents maxed out, the best armor equipped, with any other slime, you can actually only get up to 80% damage resistance. So Yulissa's ability to get up to 90% damage resistance is pretty cool as far as tank ability goes. But just, she is really going to have a pretty big downside as far as the actual damage output she has. For her level 150 ability, in battle slimes, slow power extended by 20% and stun time extended by 0.2 seconds. This isn't really that good, but kind of unique, I guess, if you're trying to play around with a lot of stuns and slows. There's that for you. Level 175 plus 15% stun chance. I mean, this is a decent amount of stun chance when we go over to this tab. I mean, we can get up to 35% stun chance, versus if we went with like ARP or something, we'd only be at 26%. I mean, it just kind of depends on the slime and depending on what other kind of stuff they have going on. So Wheeler's at 20%, but really that 35% stun chance isn't going to make a ton of difference, just because you have your stun chance, and then you have your stun duration, which that's going to be affected by enemy status resistances. Certain enemies can't really be stunned for very long regardless. For her level 200 ability, we have her unique skill, Immortal Wall, which you're going to get anytime you use Earth Shattering. So this main ability, Unleash the Rock Power, stuns enemies within the area. So anytime you use this ability and you have her leveled up to 200, it'll also summon an Immortal Wall that's going to last for 6 seconds and block the enemy's movement. I'll show you both of those real quick here. So I'm going to level her down for the first time, just so we don't have that additional effect going on. Alright, so now that we're hopping in the battle here, before we get to the skill, I just did kind of want to show something I thought was kind of cool. And that's just Yulissa's attack animation. You can see she's throwing rocks at the enemies. In my preference, it looks a lot cooler than some of the other just little projectiles they throw at the enemies, whether it's shards or little just indescribable bullets. Yulissa throwing these actual, I guess, rocks at the enemies is just kind of cooler. So we're going to clear out this wave real quick. And then I'm going to use this ability on these guys right here. And then really what you can see is the stun actually doesn't make that much of a difference. And this is just kind of inherently due to how stun works. I mean, any abilities that do stun, just because of how much status resistance enemies have. And you can see as I level up this ability, even with some of the kind of bonus stun time perks we have. So say I level Yulissa up to like level 50, you're going to see that stun time does increase. We're actually going to push it all the way, I mean, it's close to 200 without actually getting to 200 real quick, just so I can show you. We'll call it, yeah, even 175 should be more than enough to actually showcase anything here, but we're really probably not going to see much of an impact here. So I'm going to wait for an enemy to come on. I'm going to target this guy in the back. And you can see that stun time. It really just didn't do anything. I mean, he pretty much just kept on walking. And so that's just the weakness of stun. So when you're, I mean, knockback, you can tell a little more just because it's going to push the enemies back. But the stun, it's really not going to actually stun them very long. So that's just something to be aware of. Now we're going to actually level this all the way up to level 200. And then we're going to have the Immortal Wall. Now this is actually going to be a lot cooler as far as just delaying the enemies. So we're going to let the enemies kind of come at us a little. And I'm going to use the ability on this back guy right here. And then you're actually going to see their stun. And then there's just a wall that's placed in front of them. So they actually can't move. So what it's going to do is it's going to impede that enemy you targeted's movement, as well as any new enemies that come in around that enemy. So I'm going to put one right here. And if you stop them within attack range, your slime can actually just keep attacking them. Now note, just because the way the wave progresses, more enemies will still come through. So it's not like this is a just super powerful thing you can do to beat the enemies. They're going to keep on coming, so eventually you will just get swarmed. But it is nice to actually have a stun that actually seems to stun the enemies. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.